Welcome to the Senior Focus. I'm your host, Nick Colsis. We have a tremendous show for you today. I have with me Kathy Chekani. Hello, Kathy. How are you?
Good, Nick. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Interesting show. I want to talk about Navicare, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about the PACE program and mass health benefits. But first, for our viewers, I wanted to talk a little bit about you, and let's start off with what kind of work do you do?
Well, I'm an attorney, and I work here in Worcester, and basically I'm an elder attorney.
And how long have you been a lawyer?
About 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
And you say you're an elder attorney, so elder law. What kind of things do you do?
Basically, the majority of my practice is I usually deal with the mass health applications. I also do some veterans benefits for people, and some estate planning, that type of thing, conservatorships, guardianship. But the majority of it is probably with the healthcare plans and getting our clients onto mass health benefits.
Okay, and where do you work?
For elder and disability law advocates here in Worcester.
And have you always been a lawyer?
Oh, no.
Okay, what did you do in your previous life?
Well, I've probably had many careers, but I would say the majority has always been associated with the healthcare field. I was in medicine. I first started out when I graduated from college as a radiologic technologist, working in the hospital and then kind of working my way up the ranks. So I spent, probably 20-something years in the healthcare field.
So as you mentioned, you spent a lot of time in the healthcare field, and the work that you do at the law firm is basically helping individuals put in mass health applications and get approved ultimately for benefits to help them with their health care.
Absolutely.
And you had an interesting meeting this morning we were talking about? Yes,
we had a representative from Summit Elder and Navicare, and basically she came by. This is Karen. I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce her last name. Dralius?
Yeah, Dralius.
And she talked to us, the majority of the time was about the Navicare program, which was very interesting because there had been some updates in the program that makes it probably a little more appealing to even some of our clients.
I think a lot more appealing.
Yeah, but the financial requirements have changed. They're more in sync with the PACE program in that sense, and it's a little bit of a difference between the two programs, so it's going to maybe fit some other people's needs that the PACE program didn't match up to before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot easier to get people to become eligible for their program, whereas I believe before, and we'll talk about the eligibility requirements, but I believe the eligibility requirements before the increase is at like what, $2,000 now?
Yes.
I think the asset limit before was something to the effect of $250.
Yes, it was just nobody would qualify.
Oh yeah, it's
very few people.
Very, very difficult.
Yes.
And I believe she's an outreach coordinator for both, for Summit Elder Care, the PACE program in Central Massachusetts.
Right.
Also the Navicare program.
Right.
Which is run by the same company.
Yes, through Fallon.
And the service areas are the same.
Pretty much, yeah, which they're expanding. That was another thing I learned today, that they're really expanding right across Massachusetts, both west and east of the central portion of Massachusetts. So,
I think I heard that Summit Elder Care, the provider of PACE services in Central Mass, is one of the largest in the country.
That's pretty impressive, you know.
I'm not quite certain whether it refers to the number of people they service or the geographic area that they encompass. But yeah, I think it is fairly impressive.
Yeah, and it may be both because, like I said, they continue to spread their service area, which is great because, I know in the past we've had some clients that may be further to the western part of the state and they wouldn't have been able to receive the services through these programs. And so with new offices being set up, that's going to become available to them.
Yeah, that is one of the problems that we've had in the past, or that has happened in the past. People that aren't in a particular service area are not entitled and not eligible
Right.
to receive benefits from these various companies, and that can be a problem.
Yes.
But we'll talk about the eligibility requirements in greater detail. I have before me some information that was her name, Karen Drelius,
Yes.
provided, and I suppose the first thing I want to ask, what is Navicare?
Well, it's a program that basically navigates the system for the individual, meaning they provide the coordination for an individual to receive services. You know, whether it's your primary care physician, they'll organize the appointments, medications. So they have one person who's the navigator, basically, who is we'll call it the gatekeeper, who will coordinate all the services for an individual.
So, everyone's heard of Medicare and the
Right.
certain, Medigap and Medicare Advantage. So these programs, and I believe there are two programs, a special needs plan and a senior care options plan, they are Medicare Advantage plans.
Yes.
I mean, when you get these, you are on Medicare. You are entitled to receive the entire range of benefits provided by Medicare.
Right. I think, people that are just on regular Medicare Advantage plans, they have to coordinate their own things, or their families have to coordinate doctor's appointments, the prescriptions, everything. What this program allows is have one individual, the navigator, do all that for the individual. So
Yeah,
you don't
and
have a
that's-
piece here, piece there,
And that's
everywhere.
tremendously convenient to
Yes.
have someone who's able to interact and coordinate your care for you,
Yes.
whether it's one physician, whether you have 3 different physicians or 5 different physicians that you see, to be able to have a team approach where a team of professionals are brought to bear to make sure that you receive the care that you need is a very helpful thing.
Plus, I think it improves the communication, because when you're handling or your loved one is handling the coordination, you can't always guarantee that, say, a specialist is communicating with a primary care physician.
Right.
So when you have a team approach, the importance of this is that there's going to be a coordination of communication, so everybody knows what is happening to this patient. The specialist is telling, is getting communicated to the primary care, and vice versa, and any other healthcare providers.
Now, I suppose we should tell the viewers that we do intend to have both Karen Drelius and Kathy Mullen come on the show,
Yep.
so we can talk to them specifically about the Summit Elder Care program, which is the PACE program for Central Massachusetts, and the Navicare program.
Yes.
The interesting thing, I look at her card and it's Navicare HMO SNP, which is the special needs plan.
Right.
One of the real problems that I've encountered in the past, number one, either a person isn't in the service area,
Right.
and because they're not in the service area, they can't get benefits, but also that they had the asset limit set at like $250. Basically, no one was eligible. It was
Right.
very difficult to get people into the program.
Right.
Now, when they've increased it to $2,000, which still isn't a lot of money by any means. I don't want people to get me wrong, but geez, it sure beats 250.
Yes.
The eligibility rules for the HMO SNP, which is, again, Health Maintenance Organization, Special Needs Plan, but from here on out, I'm just going to call it Navicare.
Okay.
So for Navicare, when is someone eligible for it?
Well, they have to be 65
Right.
years or older. They basically, and the assumption is made, when you're 65, you're eligible for Medicare. And then on top of that, they need to file a Mass Health application to become eligible for Mass Health Standard.
And Mass Health Standard is Medicaid.
Medicaid.
So, I think that for purposes of becoming eligible for a HMO SNP, the eligibility requirements of the particular company providing the benefits are what needs to be satisfied. And as you accurately portrayed, for Navicare, you not only have to have Medicare A and Part B, but they also require that you have a Mass Health Standard application in and that you're on Mass Health Standard.
Which, in a way, coordinates to the financial requirements. I mean, if you become eligible for Mass Health Standards, more than likely you're going to qualify under this program, you know, if you meet those eligibility requirements.
Yeah, I think if you meet the eligibility requirements for Mass Health Standard, I can't envision a situation where you wouldn't be entitled to Navicare benefits. It's a voluntary program.
Right.
You can opt into it, you can opt out of it.
Right.
And in fact, you may not be able to stay in that plan in the event your health improves and the particular ailment for which you've entered into this particular plan, special needs plan.
Yes.
Whether it's for pulmonary issues, cardiac issues, something with your liver or your kidney. If those conditions improve and go away, I'm not quite certain that you can maintain
participation in the program.
We'll talk to them, Karen and Kathy, and find out more about it. But I'm pretty sure that if your condition improves, you're no longer entitled to stay on that plan. Which pretty much goes hand in hand with the Navicare Senior Care Options Program, the SCO program. There is a difference between the two. I think the big difference between the two, in either program, you have to have Mass Health Standard. In the SCO, you may have Medicare Parts A and Parts B. So I think there's more intensive care provided with the HMO SNP, and there are greater eligibility requirements as a result.
And that's probably because some individuals have specific, maybe chronic or acute conditions going on. So
they do.
Their requirements from a care perspective is much greater.
And in fact, that is what the HMO SNP is designed for, to limit enrollment in a specific plan to people who suffer from a particular ailment. The formulary is limited to those medicines that are necessary for the care of someone who has that particular kind of ailment. Which I think is really helpful for people so that they can have others care for them and help them and coordinate their care, because as we both know that when someone ages and they need care and they have to interact with their, whether it's a physician, a physician's assistant, a nurse practitioner, a nurse, oftentimes people don't really understand what's being told to them. And in this case, and we'll talk about it when we come back from the break, the navigator, they're able to coordinate the care, and there are people there that advocate for you, which is very important.
Absolutely.
And, the type of services that are covered is pretty much all-inclusive. I think they say that any of the services that would be covered for, Medicare or Medicaid, Mass Health, would be covered under Navicare. And as you know, under a Mass Health Standard, they cover basically everything. I mean, there are certain limitations, but they do cover pretty much everything. One of the interesting things that I found out is that they cover long-term care, so that in the event your health deteriorates and you need nursing home care placement, they have that service available as well?
I mean, the goal of this program is, of course, to keep the individual in the home as long as possible, which is what the individual like. There's not many people we've met that want to go into a nursing home. They want to stay in their home, they're comfortable, they're happy there. And so that's the main goal, is to keep them at home and healthy.
Some of the individual plans that might be available, We'll talk about when we come back from the break, on the other side of the break, and I'm not quite certain that each of these specific ailments, have a particular plan available to them through Navicare. So we'll find out more about it, but on the other side of the break, we'll talk about some of these plans.
Millbury Healthcare Center is a highly respected 5-star, deficiency-free skilled nursing and rehabilitation center. We are renowned for our compassionate care and specialty programming, making it possible for your next step, returning home. We listen and take the time to understand your goals. We provide support and the tools needed to safely prepare for your transition home. Millbury Healthcare Center is the community choice for skilled nursing and rehabilitation.
Does your loved one suffer from memory impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease? Consider Dodge Park Rest Home in Worcester. Our geriatric medical team and nursing staff are available 24 hours a day. We offer medication administration and incontinence care with dignity. Our activity programs are designed to engage and stimulate the mind. And with Dodge Park Rest Home, you can better protect your estate and save your assets with only a 1-year look back. Your loved one will feel safe and at home with Dodge Park Rest Home of Worcester.
Charter TV3 and UMass Memorial Healthcare have teamed up to bring you the latest news and trends in healthcare. Health Watch, presented by UMass Memorial Healthcare, brings you the healthcare topics that are important to you. From stroke prevention to allergies, skincare to sports injury prevention, and nutrition to pregnancy, Health Watch and UMass Memorial Healthcare informs you on the issues that affect you on a daily basis. Health Watch on Charter TV3. For extended interviews with UMass Memorial Healthcare experts, log on to our website.
I'm standing here in the Canal District in front of one of Worcester's old mills, the old Crompton Loom Works, built in 1860. It's got a new local developer, and he's developing it for mixed use. This is just one example of things that are happening in Worcester that we're excited about. Politics in Worcester is a lot like Kelly Square. It's chaos, you don't know who's coming from where and from what angle, and yet somehow it all works. Please join me on Central Mass Chronicles and Charter TV3.
Charter Business helps businesses achieve everyday victories. Want to be victorious today? Call 877-BIZ-BUNDLE. Switch to Charter Business and start saving over $50 a month. You'll enjoy internet 6 times faster than standard DSL, plus phone with unlimited long distance. Saving your business over $50 a month makes for an easy decision. It's indecision that'll cost you. So call 877-BIZ-BUNDLE today. To the victor go the spoils.
Tired of weather reports that don't focus on Central Mass? Introducing Worcester Weather, the only video weather report for Worcester. Worcester Weather is easily accessible 24/7 by visiting chartertv3.com. It is updated throughout the day to give you the best video forecast possible. Worcester Weather also airs at 5 p.m. during the Jordan Levy Show and every Worcester News Tonight telecast. Worcester Weather gives you the local forecast you have always wanted. Worcester Weather on Charter TV3 and chartertv3.com. Brought to you by Berterra Nissan of Auburn.
I'm Andy Lacombe from Worcester News Tonight. Thank you for choosing Charter.
Welcome back to the Senior Focus. I'm Nick Holtz. I'm here with Attorney Kathy Chekani, and we're talking about Navicare. Navicare is a type of a Medicare Advantage plan like an HMO or a PPO. Right. Now, when you think of an HMO, a health maintenance organization, what do you think of?
Well, it's a plan that offers health care at probably, I'll say, reduced costs, where
because they manage the care.
They manage the care.
Everything's turning to managed care today.
And usually you're working within a particular network.
Yep.
If you go outside the network, it may not be approved and it may be an out-of-pocket expense. So what they try to do is coordinate it so you stay within their network, whoever's the provider.
I can't remember the guest I was speaking to, but might have been Dr. Catherine DeBow, and she had indicated that all care for seniors, for the geriatric population. All care is turning to managed care
Right.
because there's such an overwhelming number of, seniors, and, as I say, pretty much on every show now,
Right.
10,000 individuals a day turn 65. I'm still not certain I comprehend that number. I mean,
It's all the baby boomers.
yeah, all the baby boomers. I mean, that's a lot of people. And to try to contain and control costs, managed care.
Yeah. Well, it's the area of the population that really has probably the highest medical costs, because as you get older, different ailments, different illnesses are prevalent, and so it's very costly to provide care to a growing and growing and growing population.
Now, these Medicare special needs plans, these, like Navicare, the SCOs, SEOs, Senior Care Option Plans, are specifically designed to treat a number of particular ailments, chronic conditions. What are some of the chronic conditions?
Well, we have a long list here.
A long list.
Right. Chronic alcohol and other drug dependence, autoimmune disorders, cancer, and it says excluding precancerous conditions, cardiovascular disorders, chronic heart failure, dementia, diabetes, end-stage liver disease, end-stage renal disease, requiring any kind of mode of dialysis, severe hematologic disorders.
All right, so hematologic means blood.
Blood
Okay.
disorders, HIV, AIDS, chronic lung disorders, chronic and disabling mental health conditions, neurologic disorders, stroke.
So it really covers the gamut
Yes.
of whatever it is that a person might be suffering from. And in the event they're suffering from a particular ailment, there's help out there.
Right. And plus it helps to, I think the program helps to coordinate. Sometimes when you have a chronic condition, the healthcare doesn't get coordinated for that person. Again, like we talked in the beginning, these people are going to be seeing specialists, they may be seeing, therapists or whatever, and I think sometimes the care gets disjointed. This type of program offers that coordination, and I have to believe that people do better when their care is coordinated like that, especially when they're older and elderly, and it's a difficult thing to coordinate your care.
I don't think there's any doubt about the fact that as a person ages and it becomes more and more difficult for them to communicate with their provider, for them to have an advocate to get the information, to explain the information, to coordinate the care, to coordinate appointments with other specialists and so forth, is tremendously important.
Oh, absolutely. It's, I know because, I take care of my mother, that we go to a doctor's appointment and she may either not understand what the doctor is saying, or maybe she's not paying attention very closely, and that's why I go with her, so I can hear what the doctor's saying, so then I can in turn explain to her what she's saying, what we're going to do, that type of thing. So if you have somebody there that's helping you coordinate everything, it makes their life so much easier.
I also do a lot of work in the Medicaid field and trying to get people, eligible for Mass Health and so forth. And the one thing that is very striking to me is when an elderly person doesn't have an advocate, someone to advocate on their behalf, and they attempt to, navigate the maze that's in front of them with respect to their health care, and becomes virtually impossible for the person. To have the ability to have a navigator help you, take you by the hand and help you through the maze is a really important thing, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't think, I'm not quite sure why these systems that develop the way they are, maybe they are made complicated, so maybe some people can't navigate as easily. And so if you don't have that person advocating for you or helping you through the program, most people could not do it on their own.
I think it's like the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
There are just so many people who need assistance that, it's a large system and it's not easy to navigate.
No.
Let's talk about how these plans work.
Okay.
I understand that they're approved by Medicare.
Right.
So the plan is approved by Medicare, but the benefits and the services are provided by a private company.
Right. Somebody like in this case with Navicare would be Fallon Community Health Plan. And they're the providers of both the Navicare program and the Summit. Summit Elder provides the services for the PACE program.
A lot of people have come to me and have said, well, I'm not a member of Fallon Community Health Plan, and they assume that because they're not a member of Fallon, they're not entitled to these benefits. Do you have to be a Fallon member to be entitled to these benefits?
They're just the provider of the services. More than likely, though, they will be seeing the primary care physician that they get will probably be a Fallon doctor, And sometimes that has been an issue with some people. I know some of our clients, when we, were suggesting maybe the PACE program for them, and they're like, well, I've had this primary care doctor for 30 years, and I really like, he or she, and I really don't want to. Right. And so, that's the reason that they want to join the program, and not necessarily because the program doesn't interest them, it's because they'd have to change doctors.
I mean, I can see if a person has a particular chronic condition, and they have finally found a specialist that they're comfortable with, and they fear changing the specialist. That's a reasonable anticipation. Saying that in every particular event, don't change. That's not what I'm saying, but I can at least understand the concern. But when you think about it, if a person doesn't have a particular condition that they see the doctor for all the time, how often do you see a primary care physician?
Yeah, once, maybe
not
twice
very
a
often.
year. Yeah, unless you've got some problems, something's happening all the time. So
now, you did mention, and I would like to reiterate it for the people that are, viewing the program today, and that's in the event you join the Navicare program, you will see physicians, nurses, physical therapists, medical professionals that are all participating in the Navicare plan. You won't be able to see a physician outside the plan. It's like an HMO.
You have to stay within the network.
Yeah, you stay within the network, but that network does provide basically for all the care that you might need.
It's a very large network, so I don't think there's anything missing out of that network.
And the other important thing that people should know is that when they participate in Navicare, they're in the Medicare program. They're entitled to all the rights and all the protections that are afforded, to Medicare patients, and the coverage that they get through the plan is a complete Part A and Part B Medicare component. And not only Part A and Part B, they get all their prescription drugs covered as well.
Which is the Part D.
Which is Part D. So, it's not as though you give up your Medicare coverage when you go into this plan. I think what happens is you may lose some flexibility in the particular physician that you go to, but I think you gain an awful lot by the mere fact that there's a navigator, a coordinator of your care, so that in the event, someone needs to, determine information from another professional relative to your care, it doesn't have to be the senior, him or herself.
And the other thing is the cost. If individual becomes eligible for the program, basically it costs them nothing. And in this case, a lot of seniors are on fixed income and they're paying for supplemental health insurance, they're paying for prescriptions, they may be paying out of pocket for things, and this becomes, a very attractive program for those people whose income and assets may be limited.
The cost is a tremendous benefit, like you said. In the event a person is eligible for participation in the Mass Health program, Mass Health Standard, and they otherwise meet the eligibility requirements to participate in this program, they pay nothing. They
Right.
get to keep whatever income they have.
right.
I think that's a huge benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
When we come back, I would like to talk about some of the over-the-counter medication that
Okay.
is made available through participation in this program.
Okay.
Does your loved one suffer from memory impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease? Consider Dodge Park Rest Home in Worcester. Our geriatric medical team and nursing staff are available 24 hours a day. We offer medication administration and incontinence care with dignity. Our activity programs are designed to engage and stimulate the mind. And with Dodge Park Rest Home, you can better protect your estate and save your assets with only a 1-year look back. Your loved one will feel safe and at home with Dodge Park Rest Home of Worcester.
Millbury Healthcare Center is a highly respected 5-star deficiency-free skilled nursing and rehabilitation center. We are renowned for our compassionate care and specialty programming, making it possible for your next step, returning home. We listen and take the time to understand your goals. We provide support and the tools needed to safely prepare for your transition home. Millbury Healthcare Center is the community choice for skilled nursing and rehabilitation.
Coverage from Central Massachusetts for Central Massachusetts.
An air quality alert was issued for Massachusetts early Friday morning.
Police were able to catch up to him and place him under arrest.
More than 2,500 cyclists will take part in the event.
Police dig through new developments in their daughter's unsolved murder on what would have been her 29th birthday.
Reporters in the field and an in-depth local forecast. Worcester News Tonight on Charter TV3.
The Arthritis Foundation moves people to move together.
Today is a celebration. We're here to support our daughter and walk to find a cure for arthritis.
My whole entire family is here to support me.
This is the best way that we all can get the word out and raise awareness and raise funds for research.
Reach out to your family, friends, neighbors, and coworkers today.
I'm Peggy Middaugh, Director of the Worcester Tree Initiative. Since 2009, 22,000 trees have been planted in Worcester and surrounding towns through the combined efforts of the Worcester Tree Initiative, Department of Conservation and Recreation, and the City of Worcester. Together we are rebuilding Worcester's urban forest. Our goal is 30,000 trees by 2014. To learn more, visit treeworcester.org.
Charter On Demand presents How to Turn Your Home into a Movie Theater. Find your Charter remote and pick it up. Locate Channel 1 and get thumb ready for action. Press Channel 1 while carefully clutching a bowl of popcorn. Select a category and start enjoying top movies whenever you want on Charter On Demand, many the same day they're released on DVD. Check out this month's newest on-demand choices. Repeat frequently for full entertainment effect. Go to Channel 1 and find your favorite flicks on demand.
I'm Siobhan Connolly from Worcester News Tonight. Thank you for choosing Charter.
Welcome back to the Senior Focus. I'm Nick Holtz. I'm joined today by Kathy Chekani, and we're talking about the interesting topic of Navicare. And before the break, we were talking about certain coverage for medication. All the prescription drugs are covered.
Right.
Now, if you choose a particular special needs plan, like a Navicare plan, it has, that particular plan will have a formulary where the prescription medication that's covered is specific to the particular ailment that plan covers.
The other thing I did learn, excuse me, the
sure.
other thing I learned in reading through the materials, though, is that, just so people know out there that the prescriptions that are covered, and this is no different than if they were a member of the Fallon plan, just the regular supplemental, Advantage plan, is that the formulary for the prescriptions, usually it's going to be the generic. So they want you to try the generic first before they'll do a name brand prescription. So just that people are aware of that.
Sure.
It's not like it's a open market for prescriptions and they want a name brand and it's automatically going to be covered. The impetus will be to order a generic prescription first and see how that works, and if it doesn't work, then they can move on to the named prescription.
I may be mistaken, but I think that the bulk of the time, the generics occur after a patent runs out on the particular drug, and the generic that comes out is identical in nature to the name brand drug, but anyone can make it now, and it's cheaper.
Oh, absolutely.
Much cheaper.
I can't even tell you, my mother had an eye drop, for glaucoma, and the price was cut like down to a third of what it was before. It was just, it's incredible. And once the patent expired, and the generic came out, no problems, with the eye drop at all.
Sure.
So.
The other interesting thing that I found out is not only the prescription drugs, but they have a rather extensive over-the-counter drug list that's made available as well. And these are items that are provided to the participants in this plan, and in the event you're eligible, you don't even pay anything for them.
I know. This part is amazing to me because you always assume there's going to be out-of-pocket expenses when you have to go for something for like antihistamine or analgesic or something like that. So this is pretty
you take
amazing.
a look at, as you say, the analgesics, Tylenol, aspirin, capsaicin, ibuprofen, naproxen. People spend an awful lot of money on these over-the-counter drugs to treat inflammation, discomfort every single day.
Right.
So if a person is, like you say, of moderate income, and they need assistance, and they need management and organization, coordination of their care, a program like this not only provides the prescription medication coverage that the person might need, but some of the over-the-counter drugs that they might need as well. I mean, antimicrobials, the topicals, hydrogen peroxide, iodine, isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol.
Right.
I mean, I can remember my folks, they'd use that all the time.
Yes.
And to have it provided at no cost, I think is a tremendous benefit.
It is amazing because you're absolutely right. I think people spend a lot of out-of-pocket expenses on these things, and it's going to be covered.
You look at some of these things: cod liver oil,
I know it.
Glycerin, magnesium hydroxide, ascorbic acid, folic acid, niacin, lanolin. Really, it's a very extensive list, and
it even includes vitamins and nutrients. I mean, it's just it's incredible.
It really is incredible. I think it's a huge help.
Yes.
To participate in one of these plans, people shouldn't think that they're available throughout the country, because they're not.
Right.
We're fortunate in central Massachusetts that there is a plan, that there is coverage. Navicare will be able to provide this coverage. But as we had established, it's a Medicare-approved plan that's administered by a private company.
Right.
So just like the government can't dictate where the private company is going to go into business, if that private company is not in a particular area, people in that area don't have service coverage.
Right.
So like I say, I think it's rather beneficial that we in central Massachusetts have, Navicare coverage.
Yes.
The other thing I was interested in is whether advanced coverage decisions are made. And in finding out that, in fact, if you have a question, they will be able to take a look at the issue and determine whether the service or the procedure is medically necessary and whether they cover it.
Yeah, it's like a pre-approval kind of process.
I mean, you know, many times I can remember trying to find out from Mass Health whether a particular activity, you know, how they would look upon it, if it would be, you know, allowed and approved, and the, you know, comment or the decision that I always got from the casework was, we don't provide advanced decisions. So you have to submit your application, and then you'll find out how we'll treat it. And in this particular instance, you're able to find out if the particular medical procedure is covered. So, I mean, I suppose that we're not talking eligibility issues and what people do with their, you know, assets or income. I understand that. But just the mere fact that if you have a coverage question, you can find out in advance if, you know, they'll cover it or not.
Cover it or not, yes, yeah.
And in the event that you find out that the decision that's made is not favorable to you, you can file an appeal.
Right. And that's really no different than any other insurance plan, you know, in that case. You know, if you have found the same thing, it's going to go through the administrative process and you appeal it.
So if Navicare doesn't pay for it, doesn't allow, they want to stop a particular you know, medical treatment, if you think you should be covered for that particular treatment, there is a mechanism by which you're able to appeal that decision. Now, when we have
Karen and Kathy?
Karen and Kathy come on in a month or so, we can, you know, find out specifically from them, you know, how you would go about appealing. I'm sure there's a number to call. You can probably, you know, put in by fax or by email, but as far as the particulars of how to appeal, we can find out from them.
And usually, and I don't know, we'll find out from Kathy and Karen, but usually it's a multi-step because, you know, you can appeal it to the first level and they may confirm the original decision and you can push it further and further. I mean, so it's not just one try and you're out, you can keep pursuing it.
I bet you the first level is an appeal from the decision of Navicare to Fallon itself. And in the event Fallon renders a decision that you feel aggrieved of, that you don't agree with, then I think you're allowed to bring it straight to Medicare.
Yes.
You know, the other, and they have to let you know in writing ways to appeal. So once a determination is provided to you of whatever their decision is, that decision will tell you how to go about appealing the decision in the event you don't like what you hear.
Exactly.
And the other important thing is, if you think you're going to be seriously harmed by their decision, there is a mechanism in place where you can, within 72 hours, have an appeal heard. So there is a means by which you can expedite the appeals process. And, you know, that's all that I think we're going to talk about today on Navicare. I know that when Karen and Kathy come in, we'll be able to drill down in more specific detail. And, you know, just before we head to a break, the availability of the navigator that can provide a single point to help you coordinate your care, a geriatric support services coordinator, a nurse case manager who can, you know, assess your clinical needs and schedule whatever, you know, specialist appointments. Of course, you're going to need a primary care physician, and as we had indicated, that particular physician, all these people actually have to be, you know, participants in the plan, members, employees of the plan. And in the event you need specialized medicine, they'll refer you to a specialist. The primary care physician will refer you to the specialist. It's really just like any other insurance.
Except it's coordinated.
Yeah. You know, I suppose with the PPO, you know, maybe you don't need the referrals, but with the HMO, any
definitely.
HMO,
Yep.
you have to get the referral.
Yep.
We're going to head to a break right now. When we
Okay.
come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the PACE program and Summit Elder Care.
Millbury Healthcare Center is a highly respected 5-star deficiency-free skilled nursing and rehabilitation center. We are renowned for our compassionate care and specialty programming, making it possible for your next step, returning home. We listen and take the time to understand your goals. We provide support and the tools needed to safely prepare for your transition home. Millbury Healthcare Center is the community choice for skilled nursing and rehabilitation.
Does your loved one suffer from memory impairment, dementia, or Alzheimer's disease? Consider Dodge Park Rest Home in Worcester. Our geriatric medical team and nursing staff are available 24 hours a day. We offer medication administration and incontinence care with dignity. Our activity programs are designed to engage and stimulate the mind. And with Dodge Park Rest Home, you can better protect your estate and save your assets with only a 1-year look back. Your loved one will feel safe and at home with Dodge Park Rest Home of Worcester.
Charter TV3 and UMass Memorial Healthcare have teamed up to bring you the latest news and trends in healthcare. Health Watch, presented by UMass Memorial Healthcare, brings you the healthcare topics that are important to you. From stroke prevention to allergies, skin care to sports injury prevention, and nutrition to pregnancy, Health Watch and UMass Memorial Healthcare informs you on the issues that affect you on a daily basis. Health Watch on Charter TV3. For extended interviews with UMass Memorial Healthcare experts, log on to our website.
Fridays on the job in Worcester.
Is that your lunch?
Yeah, just having a few chips, trying to finish some things up.
You should come out to lunch with us. There's a concert on the Common right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd be game for that.
Yeah, let's
get
go.
out there.
Escape the office. Come out to lunch every Friday this summer, beginning June 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the Worcester Common behind City Hall. Produced by the City of Worcester and the Worcester Cultural Coalition. Promotional message provided by the City of Worcester and Charter TV3.
Few sales careers offer the advantages you'll find at Charter. As a member of the Charter Direct sales team, you'll represent a growing Fortune 500 organization and one of the nation's largest providers of advanced video, high-speed internet, and telephone services with top-quality HD programming. And you'll have a direct role in providing an unmatched experience to our customers. We offer direct sales employees a competitive base salary, earning potential up to 6 figures, comprehensive benefits, and the freedom of a flexible work schedule. If you're looking to make an impact on your career, join the Charter Direct sales team today.
Join me on the Hank Stoltz Experience. You know, people are always asking me, what is the experience? Well, that's the beauty of it. It's everything that has to do with Central Massachusetts. From the politics of the region to the great events that are going on each and every weekend or every night right here in Central Mass. It's everything that's going on. It's everything that you want to know about. And just like Kelly Square, where the traffic never stops, we never stop either. There's no red lights on the Hank Stoltz Experience, only on Charter TV3.
I'm WTAG's Jordan Levy. Join me on the Jordan Levy Show weekday afternoons on Charter TV3. And thank you for choosing Charter.
Welcome back to the Senior Focus. I'm Nick Calcis. I'm here with Kathy Chekani. Kathy, we were talking about Navicare. I did want to just briefly touch upon the PACE program.
Okay.
PACE stands for, it's an acronym, it stands for? Program
of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly.
You know, really, I'm not quite certain the differences between the Navicare program and the PACE program. They're both pretty much programs that provide all-inclusive care for the elderly.
I think it's probably how they're dissimilar, from my understanding, is that the PACE program is, once again, it's a team approach to it, but everything is provided, and basically any decisions, anything comes within a team. There's always like a team meeting versus having one navigator who coordinates everything. In the PACE program, it's a team, like they'll meet as a team and say, you know, the primary will be there, the nurse practitioner will be occupational therapist, and the decisions that are made about the patient are made as a group versus having a navigator kind of coordinating everything.
You know, Karen and Kathy, when they come in, can you know, correct me if I'm mistaken, and I might be.
Yeah.
When I think of PACE, I think of more extensive care.
People that have maybe greater needs.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, you know, at least before they changed from the $250, I'm pretty sure it was $250,
Yeah.
from $250 to $2,000, there are a lot of people that would be able to participate in the program, but, you know, the financial requirements were too draconian.
No. There were very few people. I don't think there's any clients that we've had that we would have been able to get them qualified for the Navicare program before they changed the eligibility, the financial eligibility requirements. So now they're identical practically to the financial requirements for the PACE program.
Yeah, when I look at the financial, when I look at the requirements in general, they seem rather identical. You have to be a resident in the service area.
Right.
And as we know that for whether it's Summit Elder Care or Navicare, the service area is really a rather extensive service area. We say central Massachusetts, but you know, I believe there is an effort underfoot to open an office in Springfield.
Right.
So it really does kind of, it will say pushes, I think, to like 495 almost.
Yes.
And it's going, you know, almost out to Springfield.
It is.
I mean, that's a lot of communities.
And when I was talking to Karen today, she said, although she wouldn't kind of divulge, but she said our plan is to then open an office to the eastern part, heading towards Boston way, so that they basically cover all of Massachusetts.
Right.
So.
And she had indicated, or there's some indication on the income level. What is it? I believe $2,094. Is that correct?
Yes. If that is the original income, what I wrote down here is $931, which is the Mass Health Standard eligibility. But then if they are eligible for the frail elder waiver, then it goes up to $2,094.
Yeah, so the 931 is tied to the federal poverty level, which if you're a senior and you're participating in the over 65 program, which is a bit confusing because even though it says the over 65 program, you can be 65 or over and be a participant in that program. And the income limit that they have is $931. They tie it to the federal poverty level. But as you know, as opposed to an under 65 program where in the event your income exceeds the federal poverty 931 and you're not entitled to participate in the program, if you're in the over 65 program, you can still have income that exceeds that 931 and pay deductible and participate in the program. Now, I'm not positive that is exactly the way Navicare works, but of course, when they come here, they can tell us.
Right, exactly.
The threshold to participate in Navicare is the $2,094. So it's not, I don't think, based on the federal poverty level. It will be based on 3 times the federal benefit rate. They do allow you a little bit more money. And, you know, with PACE, right, if you are interested in PACE and you apply for PACE, and let's say that the income limit for PACE is now $2,094 with the cost of adjustment, it should be what, $2,022. let's say a person has $3,000.
Mhm.
Does that mean they're not eligible to participate in PACE?
No, they would pay what I call is like a copay for the program.
That's
you know.
what I call it too. It
Yeah,
is a
it's copay,
copay.
yeah.
Every month, the difference between their income
Mhm.
and the income standard
Right.
is paid as a copay each and every month.
Right.
I think it would be a rather similar
Yes.
eligibility requirement for Navicare.
Yes.
Not certain, but I think it's...
I believe it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other similarity between the two is that in the event a person's health deteriorates,
Mhm.
whether they're with the PACE program or the Navicare program, they are allowed entry into, we'll say, a PACE approved or Navicare approved nursing home,
Yes.
so that their care can continue under the auspices of nursing home care.
Yes. It's basically a conversion of benefits. They converted from a community-based benefits to long-term care. So, and there's, you know, we were talking about it today, that there's probably about 5 or 6 PACE-approved nursing homes in the central, probably Massachusetts Worcester area.
You know, I think that the problem is with the transfer of asset penalties, and you go from a community program into a long-term care program, even with PACE or
Yep.
with Navicare, the transfers that you might be able to make to become eligible for participation in the community programs
Right.
will come back to bite you if you need entry into a long-term care facility.
Right, and I think that's, you know, we've talked about this before, about trying to educate people about planning, you know, doing estate planning in advance, so that don't assume because you're going to the PACE program, you know, you're going to be in it forever. God willing, yes you are, but you know, you need to think the chance might be that I may end up in a long-term care facility. How do I go about making sure my assets are protected? And if you make the transfers within the 5-year look-back period, you know, you're going to be penalized by that. So the more you plan in advance, the better off it will be, and then those transfers will be allowed.
I think that relaxing the eligibility requirements for people to be able to participate in the Navicare program is very, very helpful.
Yes.
And if people are so inclined, it is easier to participate in Navicare, and they should find out what's available to them.
Definitely find out more about it.
In any event, we are at the end of our program.
Okay.
I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to let everyone know, if you have questions or comments on today's show, please visit the website at theseniorfocus.com. There's also a survey that one can take on what kind of programming that you're interested in, so that we're able to bring to you precisely the kind of programming that you're interested in. But in any event, thank you for joining us, and join us next week for more Senior Focus. Thank you.